There you go, Chris.
All right. Well, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Christopher Herring with Global Chamber Texas here on our meetup. It's good to see so many of you. And note that on globalchamber.org, you can find out more information, see our calendar of events, and sign up with our membership. I'm with Rachel Trevino. Hi, Rachel.
Hello. Greetings, everybody.
She's going to help me to moderate some discussions today. Everything is truly changing around our world. And I know that with the changes around our world, it puts different levels of pressure on our business community. And so these are be some of the topics that we'll talk about today. And then we have some old friends in the room and some new friends. And and so we will also have them to introduce themselves as well. I do want to announce that our past chair of Global Chamber San Antonio, who taught me so much about this thing called international business and global business, Jorge Canavati, has passed. And we are uh, going to say more about him at a later time, but the family informed that his his celebration service will be on May the 1st at 10 a.m. at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church. So that's a Friday. And so we just asked for those who want to celebrate the life of Jorge Canavati um, to mark your calendars. But again, that man was not only my chairman, but he was a great friend. Took me places where I couldn't get in by myself.
Man,
Uh,
sorry to hear
check,
that.
yeah, he checked the establishment sometimes because he was doing what was right. Uh, shared insights. He shared insights with all of us in terms of what this global chamber impact is on the world, and the fact that he was so involved in the international business scene in Mexico. He led trade delegations. He was a vibrant member of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for decades, and he worked with a group called Global Ties USA in our local San Antonio mission, which is San Antonio Council for International Visitors, and we also sat on that board helping to roll out the red carpet for people who wanted to know more about America. And, I could still see him sitting across from young faces wanting to talk about what makes America great and what makes our business community strong, what makes Texas strong. He was a preacher and an advocate of everything global. And this was it's very sad. It's a very sad time, um, especially when your mentor, someone who you look up to, and someone who you call brother, because sometimes I got on his nerves and we would go at it, but it was all in love. And so, again, for those who may not know, you can check his Facebook page. I see the many posts, the people who are pouring out. I love that man, and I just hope that his family will be taken care of and loved as well. He thought so much of his family, and this is amazing to have experienced him. So I'm grateful. And hmm. So, Rachel, what are some of the big topics that you are seeing across Texas? Because right now we're in a war, and we also see where oil supplies are not as plentiful. Gas prices have definitely, been on the rise, and maybe there's we don't know exactly when this is all going to end, but not looking necessarily for a political view, but just a view of business in terms of what are you reading or what are you seeing?
Well, I mean, the fun side is that Texas continues to lead the charge in business around the country. You look at what's happening on the East Coast and the West Coast. Texas has always been insulated, thank gosh, by its political kind of more leaning on the conservative side. One of the most pro-business states, and considering it services, two of the largest ports in the country, we're the forecast on it continuing to be the economic boom of the country. It just like it's just limitless for us. You've got so much of the medical community that's already existed here, some of the best. You've got really, a ton of Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. You've got so much moving in and out of the ports, and then you've got the Corpus Christi bridge right now. That's now they've re-engineered that to be able to do deep water shipment. So we don't know exactly what that's going to mean on the oil and gas infrastructure as far as imports and exports go, but we know that we're seeing a ton more being able to go out from there. And that's been a bridge that's been, what, 10, 15 years of the making now. And so from a GDP and an import standpoint, like the Texas is just going to be the best place to position yourself for business, both coast to coast and internationally.
You're so right. The fact of the matter is we are the fastest growth state in the nation. And even though I know that there's some people on this broadcast that are in California, for instance, you guys are actually coming to Texas in record numbers. And so we're seeing our major cities deal with this thing called migration, and the migration is creating different challenges. We have some of our cities like San Antonio where the transportation system is in a total upheaval. You'll see if you come out to visit, you'll see that we have highways that are being built on top of highways, and it's very interesting to see how we can take a city that was already defined and then grow a whole new transportation system on top of a city that has over a metropolitan area has over 2 million, people. So it's incredible, and then just to see the resources that are needed to accommodate this influx. And so we have Montreal Harris from CPS Energy, who provides the handoff uh, of the CPS business opportunities, whereby they need help. They need businesses like yours, if you're watching right now, like yours, that can help them in the area of energy. Mr. Harris, can you unmute and can you talk to us about what CPS is doing and any news in which we need to be familiar with?
Well, good morning or afternoon, depending on your time zone where you're at. And let me see. Can y'all see me? I was having trouble with the Zoom, so here
Sure,
we
we
go.
can. There you go. Look at
Hey,
that. Look at that smile. There
yeah.
you go.
Thank you. And again, Chris, oh man, it's definitely a pleasure being here. It's been a moment since we've been on the Global Chamber. So thank you all, and I'm glad to be on here with you all again. So but yeah, as you said, with CPS Energy, man, we're definitely busy. Just to think about the city and when we talk about the growth, as anyone has seen in the news, we just moved to the sixth largest city in the nation. We just overtook Philadelphia, I believe. So now we're behind Arizona, who's number five. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. So the biggest thing that we say is we say with CPS Energy, man, we're always looking for local, reliable supplies in our community and beyond, just to help us keep the city of San Antonio powered. The biggest thing that we have coming up, I know we have our monthly networking breakfast where you can come down to CPS Energy headquarters, meet a couple of just our team, and we also have a breakfast for you all if anyone wants to attend. Man, it's always great breakfast, great coffee, and just great networking. And we also have a agency, like one of the agencies from around the community that'll speak and give a presentation, and you'll have a chance to also give your 30-second pitch. So that's a big way that we have people just to come down and just get filled in on opportunities and just network with like-minded people around if you're trying to get a part of the San Antonio ecosystem. And just with that, I mean, I'd be more
Well,
than happy to. Oh, what's that, Chris?
yeah, I have some questions for you. So thank you. I received your email with the various offerings that you're providing for businesses to connect with CPS Energy. I know that in the state of Texas, and is currently something that's within the legislature, we have the state has basically ended small minority women business certifications under the hub bracket. And now we have a veteran certification that is now the path if you want to get some form of acknowledgement for your service and you want to get a contract with the state. Has CPS Energy done any changes, or what is your focus on as categories? Is it small business? Is it veterans? Do you still have the traditional areas of diversity in which you had before? What has changed?
Okay. So, I mean, with that being said, not a whole lot has changed versus the specific, I guess, change that's changed from hub to vet hub. We never required any certification for you all to get registered and do business with CPS Energy. We always promoted those certifications because we understand other agencies do so. But when it comes to the actual specific in vet hub, with the diversity, we've always had a small and local program. We've always, I guess, taken account of race, gender, and everything else just for I guess data purposes, but we've always promoted local and small. So that's what we've always pushing into, and also veterans and everything of that sort. Here in San Antonio, even though we have these certain rulings and everything coming down in our community, local and small, and we're still tracking that data, but we're doing whatever we can to help the people in San Antonio, from the veterans to diverse, you know.
Very good, very good. Well, when you support your local businesses, you do, I think, much more to build a strong economy. When you recycle dollars within zip codes that people are paying great taxes into. So, thank you for providing that. Do you have a date you said for this networking? So
Yes, it's April 8th. We have one once a month. You can get on UTSA Center for Government Contracting to sign up, and I can send it. I'm not sure if you received the other email, but I can send it out also. But that one is April 8th from 8 to 10. We also had one in May, but I think we're gonna cancel that one because I believe they have another event that they're gonna do. But after that, we have it each month at the first week of each month, and I can send you those dates for that as well.
Well, I would like to talk to you after this meeting. I think I have a vendor that could probably give a boost to the
Okay.
participants, and let's talk afterward. Thank you so much for the update.
Oh, definitely. Thank you all for having me.
Hey, we're gonna go into Mexico right now, and we're gonna talk to Julio Pablos. So, Mr. Pablos, if you can unmute. Uh, Before we came on Global Chambers Meetup, you were telling us a little bit about yourself, that you've been a ride and die with Global Chamber. You've been around us. And so today you wanted to learn more about areas like Houston. But before we talk about Houston and those types of things, tell us about yourself. Give us an introduction to
Yeah.
who you are.
Thank you. This is Julio Pablos. I am from Mexico. I live in Sonora State, South Arizona. In Mexico, there is Sonora State, and I live at the south of the state in Obregon City. Um, we have been working on the medical business for many years. We just got 30 years last March 8th. We are on our 30th anniversary. We
Congratulations.
work in Mexico, nationwide. From here, from Obregon City, we have a warehouse in Mexico City, of course, and we try to cover most of the country. Many years ago, we opened a USA company, LG Medical Design. This business is settled in Salt Lake City, Utah. And what we do, we have a USA brand, OEM with Asian countries, mainly China. And at the beginning, we thought on participating on the Latin American, South American market from USA. the reality is that we have been very successful in Mexico, and Mexico is it's a big country, big market, and we at the end we just focused on the national market in Mexico. We import our product from USA that we buy overseas in Asia, and but anyways, since probably 8 years or so, I have been member of Global Chamber. Sometimes I get a little bit more in touch of whatever you do, and sometimes it's quite hard for me to keep with so many meetings and all these things. But anyways, we are planning to participate in the USA market at least. We have been working with Roberto Ancis. Roberto, I met Roberto in Global Chamber years ago. He's been our coach to prepare our companies, and even LG Medical, which is an American company, to prepare to be ready to participate in the USA market. You know what I mean? Like all these tramits that we have to get from Arizona State, California State, Texas State, etc. Because we haven't been selling in USA. We are a USA company that is export to Mexico. But
I see.
What we are trying to do is trying to do something in the American market. And anyways, we are in this procedure to set the company and to understand how this business work in USA. We plan to do something in California and Texas mainly, because that's where Latino market is very strong. Even though our products are not focused to the Latino market, but we are Latinos.
Okay.
We have to grow somehow in the market that we feel more connected to, and
Sure.
maybe something in New York State, and of course in Arizona. Arizona wasn't in the project included, but I asked Roberto, I want to sell in Arizona, because if we are going to learn about the USA market, I want to do it in Arizona. Arizona is Phoenix is very similar to Hermosillo. Arizona somehow has a lot of relationship with Sonora State. We all go and make our shoppings in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So more or less, it's what we are doing, Christopher.
Okay, excellent. Arizona, I think, patterns itself after Texas, in so many ways. And my daughter actually goes to Arizona State, so I'm having a chance now to appreciate Arizona even more. But
Phoenix is growing incredible, amazing. A lot of opportunities in Phoenix right now.
Absolutely, and as Doug will attest, he picked an amazing area to headquarters Global Chamber, and we have the resources of Arizona State University, as we are, co-located there in that amazing global facility that they have. So you're right. All your data points, I think. Rachel, do you agree with Mr. Pablos, in terms
Yeah,
of
I mean, well, I mean, what we do know is that the Latino community is becoming the majority of the population. So yes, you can't leave them out. They're starting to make their mark on the world in several different industries. But yeah, aside from that, the medical community in Arizona, yeah, is that are you speaking, kind of allegorically about how they're fashioning after Texas? Is that accurate?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I just believe that.
That wouldn't. I don't think that's the right way to say it. I would say that definitely not patterning itself after Texas. That's not. They wouldn't want that. Sort of like if you told somebody in Texas that they're patterning themselves after Arizona, it would be the same prickly response. The right way to say it in English is that both markets are very active because they've been business friendly, and they've been recognizing that regulatory requirements that, for instance, California has, good or bad. I'm not saying, what's right or what's wrong. I'm just saying that both states looked at what other states were doing and they decided they were going to make it easier for business to do business. And so both of them have benefited. And so we're seeing it in Texas, we're seeing it in Arizona, that both states are moving fast ahead. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. Miss Elise, I see you.
Sorry that I'm driving, and I'm sorry that I was late to the party.
Hey,
No
you know,
partying while you're driving. That's
That's
not
true.
well, it's good to see you, and we can always come back to you when you pause, and so and
I
there's no,
I, I
go
don't
ahead.
want to speak while I'm driving, although I can't look at everybody, and I'm almost at my destination. But if it's okay, Chris, I'll just go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Elise Krenzel. I'm based in Austin, Texas. I am a former member of the Global Chamber, and I'm very happy to be back. And I'm a ghostwriter, and for those of you who don't know what that is, I craft stories for founders and CEOs in the form of books, manuscripts, essays, important documents, and I'm also an author in my own right, and I specialize in nonfiction, long-form narrative, memoir, and how-to books. And the last book that I just finished was on supply chain management. So I
All
learned
right.
everything about it from A to Z. And
Mhm.
that's why I love what I do, because whatever your field is of expertise, I get to analyze and dig in like an archaeologist and learn about you, about your business, and write it in such a way that it's compelling. Because let's face it, supply chain management is and can be not only siloed, but pretty dry. I mean, logistics is one thing, right? And prototyping is for engineers. However, if you create a story around it, and the CEO who had been in the industry for 25 years, et cetera, people want to read it. So I gear my books towards my clientele as well as their audiences.
Very nice. And we worked together in the past. Elise
Yeah.
wrote a book about her experiences as a young woman coming up during the rock and roll age, for those who can appreciate rock and roll. And she had the distinction of working with the group Kiss. If any of you are Kiss fans, Kiss is a global brand that has still etched a place in my heart because I was a Kiss fan. And Elise tells her story about that journey as a young woman who was really taking on the PR role when PR wasn't popular, when PR really wasn't defined, but she threw herself out there to do something great.
Thank you, Chris. And Chris helped me market that book to great effect. And I also want to say that one of the reasons I'm keen to this group is because I've lived in 5 countries. I call Texas my 6th. And it's important for me to keep in touch with people from around the world so that we can understand one another, our business, our lifestyle, our approach, in order to continue to expand our global trade and,
That's
human
it.
relations.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank
Um,
you.
and yeah, you're a bestseller with your book. I remember that now.
In
These
9 categories.
right. Yeah, and I've I'm getting a little older, I'm forgetting a little, but I remember our journey together, and so thank
Yes.
you for coming on today. I want
Thank
to
you.
pivot to Cesar, who is in Puerto Rico, and he's been the glue to Global Chamber ever since I met him, and I met him back in 2017. Um, and he provided me with my orientation, just like he's provided many of you with your orientation to the Global Chamber experience. So, Cesar, how are you doing? And what should we know about what's going on in Global Chamber so that everyone can plug in and be involved in the future?
Thank you, Chris. I'm doing well. Hope you too. And again, just saying, we were talking before the event started about Jorge, so I'm really sorry to hear about that.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's a lot going on in Global Chamber, and the last year and a half, more or less, we've been working and brainstorming, working, developing AI and technology to better suit our members when it comes to connections. And so there are two things that are kind of the in the mix of things right now. Is one is Globi, and Globi is already there. Um, it's you all. I mean, the executive directors, like you, Christopher, you have access to it, and we have kept Globi for internal use for the moment because there's a lot of work that needs to be improved with the data. So that's we don't want to share something with the members and then they come back saying, this doesn't work. So there's a lot of the data side that needs to be done. And then there's a portal that we are working with a partner and it seems is moving forward. And so hopefully in the next couple months, we will have an updated, more user-friendly portal for members to put their info, to connect directly, to have direct messages and put deals, offers, what they're looking. And so there's a lot of things that can be done in that portal. So those are the two things that are keeping us busy. Plus a new system that um, we 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 started working with last year, and that be helping us with a lot of stuff. But it's a learning process, and that takes time. When it comes to chapters and events, we've been onboarding some new chapters, and I personally been working with Colombia, for instance, is one that is growing. South Africa, it's someone that I've been is a chapter I've been working closely with, but there are many others that are coming in, and for events, well, it's a lot of events every week. We understand it can be overwhelming sometimes. And part of the thing that we're trying to do with these tools is to make them in a way that members will only see what they want to see when it comes to events. Yeah, that's a little bit on my end.
Hey, I remember when I first came into Global Chamber, the matching that we had it was like a supply board. I remember it was kind of like the offers that were around the world that Global Chamber members could actually tie into. And now I think when I'm thinking about this, and we do have our AI expert, Rachel Trevino in the room, so she's going to definitely lean in on this. But one of the most impressive things that I've seen, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Harris and what CPS Energy does. So I receive their emails that describes what they're looking for. And that's one of the questions that we ask our members when they join. It's who do you want to meet? What are you looking for in terms of um, an output, some sort of delivery of, to their expectation, which is not done in any other chamber that I've ever been in over the last 20 years. Most times you buy and get into a membership and no one ever asks you, what do you actually need? They assume that you're going to find your way by networking, and networking doesn't provide you with results. But we do ask our new members up front, what do you need and who do you want to meet? So now, with all that being said, when we have CPS Energies of the world who provide us with, as members, they provide us with, an email of the things in which they're looking for, perhaps um, the AI bot could receive it, uh, digest it, and then make it available to members who may put into a chat, what's available. And so then all of our members' stuff aggregates into, the ability to be able to have fresh information. Because I think the hardest part uh, before AI was the fact that members would have tons of lists of opportunities, but the opportunities simply just couldn't get out unless the the team spent hours upon hours pushing out emails to their email groups, in which most people didn't like to spam and they were wore out. So just thinking out loud, maybe that's something in which um, we can go down. And I saw Rachel, her eye raised a couple times. So Rachel, what were you thinking?
That's what we're seeing kind of on the AI implementation side of things. If that's what your question is, that the compounding ROI right now, just like from an initial estimate, it's profound. You're seeing every industry just out of the gate when you look at your most time consuming activities. And then if you're able to, that's where what I'd suggest if you're when you're looking at implementing AI, take your most time consuming activities and start there. And then if depending on what you guys are doing, depending on what kind of, I would say, what silo you're looking at adjusting, you're going to start to see cut costs by a couple hundreds of percent. Chris, I was having an audio. I'm not sure if that's answering exactly your question because you cut out for a second, but if you want me to expand on that a little bit more, I can as far as AI goes.
No, no, I think you're good. Because I think and know that with all the work that our team at the headquarters they do, they're always trying to look for ways which to cut time. Because and I don't know how Doug does it, but I mean he's up at the crack of dawn every day, and he's with the Global Chamber members throughout the day, and he's also sending out emails. Maybe some of that's automated. Maybe he's already into the AI automation where he's responding without responding. And I would applaud
Is
you
it
if you
really,
are,
Doug?
but I think that's the concept behind Globy, for at least that it can improve internally, but also will improve externally. Right,
Yeah,
Sam?
we're seeing a 45% increase in open rates. Just because of the sequencing of how they're written now. I mean, it's everywhere. Uh, it's not one thing at a time. So it's not the return on investment that you're getting from the time savings, and it's not just the return you're getting on investment from the cost savings. It's how much more they say that one person can be the equivalent of a five-person content team now. It's staggering. And
Oh,
and again, the conversation right now from the business community, which is good, like it's good for global chamber members because when you ask the general, business community how AI is impacting their business, most of them right now say that it's not. It's not. But that's kind of my prediction. It's going to be we're going to see in the next year to two, you're going to absolutely see it's not, if it's impacting, it's how much it's impacted. But, we're a little bit slower moving. Ships don't turn very quickly. And that's kind of the mindset of the business owner. But that everybody's talking about it. Everybody's trying to figure out what it's going to do. And, when the case of where you talked about Doug, sending emails, a lot of people just start noticing those little shifts that they're making. But I can definitely see it. I don't know. A rhetorical question I'd ask you if you're starting to see your life become any more productive in the areas that you wouldn't even consider, and that's how you know that you're freeing up more time and that you are on the path to AI implementation.
so look, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be a little bit transparent. So my life has greatly shifted with AI. I've learned that the kids in my class when I was growing up in elementary school who asked a lot of questions, and I was like, man, they're always asking questions. But you know what? The kids who ask the right questions are actually going to be the ones who do greater with this AI technology, because I see that it's the strength of the question that you are able to field with an AI that gives you a greater response, which is phenomenal. So I'm learning the art of asking questions that will really test the AI. Now, second point, I believe also we have to have metrics like in everything that we do. Like uh, metrics will determine your success or your failure. And if people are using it blindly without having any type of real goal, then shame on you. Because actually, you could ask AI within whatever medium you're using, say, hey, this is what I believe in, this is what's important. What should some of my goals be? And then it'll help to connect that, right? So you may have a health goal. And so for me, I track my whole health as a survivor of stage 4 cancer since 2021. I track my own health. I don't rely on my doctors to tell me how my health is doing. I have a very extensive project file that can go back over the last 5 years. It could actually go into every lab. I could ask my doctors questions when I go to see them that no one else would have prepped me to ask them. So leveraging AI is awesome. Also, I improved my credit score by 100 points simply by knowing how to dispute the items on my credit report. And so, like, I'm a big boss right now, all because of the efficiencies of the AI. So, anyway, that's just my personal
That's
testimony.
Yeah, it
Um,
really is. It really, and maybe over the weekend you can see it that simply. You can just take something, that you're any task you're about to sit down and do, and just ask the AI, like, how would you improve that, and see what it comes up with. That doesn't mean you have to deploy it, but it means that at least it's small steps, right? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Just the fact that you're engaging with it, put Claude on, put Chat GPT, and as long as you're starting to use the platforms. Um, it's almost like going to the gym. Make sure you're doing it. If your goal is to lose weight or if your goal is to get in shape, like the first step is just getting your shoes on, right? And so same thing when it comes to using these systems, like just start tapping into them a day at a
and,
time, and you'll see, and
and
you'll start to see it incremental.
Rachel, at the gym, I'll take a picture of, I get on the treadmill, I'll take a picture of my closing screen, and then it goes back into my health project file. And it
See,
says, wow, you've done this today. So I'm all, it encourages. It also shows your improvements. I'm at my best weight. So it's all good. Cesar, do you have anything else you want to add about this technology change with Global Chamber? Because
No,
you see how we
everything.
went off on a tangent, but it was a good tangent.
Yeah, no, everything you said is just very, very spot on. Like it's where we at, and I learned a term this week that's called digital transformation paradox, and it's like, all these things happening, and ended up giving you more trouble, more work, or more confusion, and so that's where that's I think we went through that a little bit last year, and so that's where we're kind of shifting priorities. And to your point, Rachel, is right now is well, we were thinking about this um, give this product to members. But then, no, let's just think about us, our internal work first, and see how the AI, Globe in particular, can help us with the
mhm,
processes. So that's where we are right
awesome.
Um, I'm going to add something. The last Global Chamber meetup that we had, and I apologize to the member if you're watching this on YouTube or what have you. Um, I apologize. I forgot your name, but you said in our meeting, you said, don't be as focused on existing categories that you're trying to compete within for your business. He said, Rachel, make your own category. So
Mm,
one of the things that I've discovered is I didn't know what I didn't know. So I took some of my business consulting things in which I was doing, and I said within my AI, I said, what category or a new category can I create that I'm doing that would be something that would, put me into a league by myself? And it came back with things that I didn't see, the blind spots. And that to me, that conversation we had on our last Global Chamber Texas uh, changed my life. And I now have some categories. I have some product launches that I'll be doing in the next, week to 30 days that I'm so excited about, all because our one Global Chamber member said, don't try to compete in categories that are already saturated. Make your own category. And believe me, when I make this category, we're all going to be excited. So thank you to our Global Chamber member. I see Terry Levine in the room. Terry, you can unmute because you always have something great to say.
Hello? You hear me?
How are you? Yes, we can hear you.
My mic's not working.
Actually, we can't hear you.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Well, we can come back next time, but it's good to see you. You're looking good. I like your hat. Um, that's that. There you go. There you go. So
I will put my information on the chat.
thank you so much. Rachel, I'm going to give you the ability to close with what's important that we should be thinking about in the state of Texas. What's important, and then I'll close this out.
I think what's important in the state of Texas is that not just because of the positioning of the ports, but of the positioning of the border, right? That there's just a lot of, while there's a lot of instability, there's a lot of profitability for the business community because of what's happening, what's happening between, the Mexico relationship. There's obviously a lot that geopolitically that's changing. But I still think that as America leads the charge in the economy, that Texas is going to be the number one place to be at right now. I think from an AI standpoint, I see that we are we're pushing that conversation more than any other state. There's a couple other states that are really advancing in that conversation, but I would say Texas right now is one on the brink, on the forefront of that conversation. So it's just sky's the limit to see, what how we can kind of coalesce, how the global chamber can, bring leaders together, and how we can propel that conversation, not just in artificial intelligence, but for the business community, and then how we can continue to impact. I don't know that people realize that if you're doing business in Texas and if you're doing business on the border, that you likely are going to be one of probably a market leader because like you said, to preface the call, where we are seeing in the health landscape that people's outcomes are changing and people are not as healthy and we're losing people. So the businesses that are staying in business, and are using technology and are in Texas, I think that kind of that cohesion of those elements together are going to make us strong, not just from the global chamber, but from the Texas economy.
Thank you. I'm going to close by saying that Global Chamber is probably at its all-time strongest point because of such of a shift from technology like AI to people realizing that there's a larger marketplace that they have to interact with in order to move products and services in all categories of business. And the fact that this technology of being able to use a Zoom or to conversate with or have conversations with people from all different walks of life uh, who have the same type of passion as Mr. Pablos has with moving medical devices around the world. That's exactly why Global Chamber was created. And we're seeing the productivity of it because um, members are free to navigate without having an oversight of, say, leadership. Some organizations, leaders kind of are the gatekeepers, but Global Chamber has never made um, positions to be so important that conversations can't be had. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Global Chamber Texas is strong. And I also want to close by saying that we are praying for the family of our good friend Jorge Canavati. And we just know that God's in control. and he's on the throne. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. Thank you, Cesar, for your leadership and your service. You've been serving us in such a fabulous way over the years. And thank you, Doug. Mr. Harris from CPS Energy, thank you. Terry Levine, thank you. And to the great support staff of Global Chamber, Mila, thank you so much. All right, we're signing off.
Thank you,
Here,
Christopher.
yes.
Take care, everyone. Happy weekend.